What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode. Let me do that again. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ivan Herrera Show. In this channel, we go over different ways that you can level up your fantasy football game. And in this video specifically, what we're doing, I'm going to be covering some rookie wide receivers that are having me really intrigued, that I encourage you to target late in your rookie drafts. So before we go any further, let me go ahead and kick off the whole format of what we're going to be doing. I'm going to not only go over a few wide receivers that I am liking a lot, I'm going to share some stats about them, and I'm also going to actually provide you guys a little sneak peek on a rankings template that I'm going to be providing for you guys that will be available. I'll give you guys all that information towards the end of the episode. But if you are here live right now, thank you for tuning in. For those of you that are going to be listening to this on the audio playback on Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here. Let's go ahead and lock in. And again, this episode specifically is about rookie wide receivers that I am falling in love with that you should be targeting. So again, this is post-draft. Now that we know where everyone is slated, where everyone is at, this episode is going to be exclusively focusing on some of these guys that I believe you should be targeting to help make an impact in your fantasy rosters. And I'm more so exclusively talking to those that have startup drafts. So whether you have a rookie draft, you have a startup draft coming up, this video is perfect for you because we're going to be going over a few rookies that I believe are going to make an impact. So actually, let me make sure I got my notes ready for you guys because I'm not seeing it here. Okay, so the first one I want to go over, if I can pull it up, for some reason it's not here. Well, anyways, the first one, here, what I'll do is while I'm looking for this to pop up, because I have a few notes here of a few players I want to review, what I can do is I'm going to actually share with you guys my rankings template. And this rankings template is great because it's going to be essentially made for those of you that are looking to, have a pretty good basis on how to set up rankings and how to really go about creating your own version of your projection. So let me go ahead and share that with you guys right now. So here is the file. Let me see if I can share this with you without having any issues, because I remember I had some issues sharing, but here we go. We're going to go to share screen. Okay. And I'm going to pull up. Here we go. Perfect. So this right here is the rankings template that I'm going to be providing for purchase. And here's the thing though. The cool thing about it is that this is right now set for PPR leagues, but these are just projections that I was able to pull from consensus rankers that I really look up to. And the cool thing about this, and let me see if I can increase this screen a little bit more. So in that way you guys can get a better view. I think I can make this. No, that's all it gives me. Okay. So what I'll do is, excuse the delay here. I want to make sure you guys can get a better view of how this works. No, it just widens that right there. Okay, so what I'll do is, okay, great. So right here, over here, you can see that there's going to be tabs available for you for the quarterback position, running back, wide receiver, tight end. And this right here is the kicker. This is your scoring settings. So for those of you that are right now on the audio podcast, what I'm going over is that this is the rankings that I'm going to be providing for you guys to have for yourself. And here's how it works out. So the thing is, there's going to be a scoring settings tab where you can customize it based on your league. So for instance, right now, you'll see that right here, I have the settings essentially set to how the default settings typically are for most fantasy platforms. And right over here, you can see I have it set up, 0.04. It's every 25 yards gets you a point. Every passing touchdown gets you 4 points, and then every interception gets you -2. And then the same thing too for the rushing scoring as well as receiving scoring. This is set for you already. Now, say for example, if you wanted to come over here, and I currently have it set up right now where I have Jalen Hurts as my QB1. If I was to make a modification, so like for instance, right here to the scoring settings, and say you're in a league where the passing touchdowns are at 6 instead of 4. Let me just show you right now. So currently right now, Jalen Hurts is at 345, right? You head over to the scoring settings, and all you do is just change the 4 to a 6, and then press enter. And I've set a formula where it'll automatically change the scores for you. So boom, right there, you're seeing that now Jalen Hurts has 396 points. And this is a very basic template. And the whole mission behind this template, why it'll benefit you if you're looking to get an entry level projection sheet to help you out when it comes to ranking players, to then having your own proper guide, so that way when it comes to your drafts you feel as prepared as possible. This will be a great way to start out. I started doing this a few years back, and I had the hardest time trying to do everything manual. And I figured, how can I reduce that pain point for someone else like myself who is looking to get into just ranking and making projections, but then being able to have it automatically filter the order of everything. So as you can see, if I was to make an adjustment here where it says here, we'll go here to Lamar Jackson. If I believe that he's going to run for 7 touchdowns, press enter, and it automatically then sort from descending, and it automatically adjusts his rankings accordingly. So again, this will be something that I'll provide for you. All you need to do, here's how you can get your hands on this. You can send a super chat of any amount. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide in the description my Cash App, my, what else is out there, Venmo and stuff. Any amount that you give will get your hands on this sheet to help you out with setting your projections. So that will be something that I'll provide with you. All the information will be in the description on the audio front, as well as in the description in the YouTube channel as well. So I just wanted to go over that. And then now I actually want to get into the meat of the video, because I do have my notes here. I just didn't want to pull up my phone. So that's why I was hoping that I can have it on my, here it is. Okay, great. So I'll just share my stats from my phone notes because whatever reason it couldn't upload here on my computer, but no big deal. We're going to make adjustments and go from there. All right, cool. So here we go. Actually, I just pulled up. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen once more, but I'm going to show you guys something different. And these are going to be my Dynasty late round sleepers. But let me first give an overview on each player and where I have them ranked. So for instance, right now, let me go to solo mode here. Cancel this. Update layout. As you can see, getting the kinks out here. Okay, great. So let me go ahead and go over. Here are when it comes to your wide receivers, especially when it comes to Dynasty, currently right now, we know that there's 3 guys on top of that wide receiver list. And it kicks off with Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. All of them, I think, for the most part, are in pretty good situations where I feel they're going to be productive. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. is with Arizona. He has a great quarterback in Kyler Murray. Same thing with Malik Neighbors. I know that the whole quarterback situation there in New York is a little bit wonky with Daniel Jones. However, we know that Brian Daboll has been able to really leverage the quarterback position and have a history of good offenses. So I'm not too worried about Malik Neighbors there. And I also love Rome Odunze's situation, considering that he's in Chicago. He's paired up with Caleb Williams, and he's also around some veterans like DJ Moore and Keenan Allen that I think will be really impactful for his development. And these 3 guys should be going off in your first round, like within the first 5 picks. So these guys are your pick 1 through pick 5. Now, the second tier that I want to go over, and this is where you start making really crucial decisions that can make an impact in your fantasy leagues. And the 3 that I want to go over in this second tier are Brian Thomas Jr., Ladd McConkey, as well as Xavier Worthy. And all 3 of these guys are just guys that I've enjoyed watching in college, just watching their tape. I think these are guys that are going to make a huge impact. Like for example, I've gone over how with Ladd McConkey, he is, I think in my opinion, he is the best separator among that Chargers wide receiver room. And he was 3rd in separation success rate versus zone, and he was 4th in that same statistic versus man. So he has a history of being able to separate among his defenders, and I believe that that's going to be a great scenario, considering that he's going to be paired up with Justin Herbert, who is an accurate quarterback, someone that is going to be really efficient and really leverage Ladd McConkey's skill set. And same goes for Brian Thomas. This is someone that is going to go to Jacksonville. They just got rid of Calvin Ridley. Gabe Davis is also a part of that team now. So, excuse me, I believe that what's going to happen is Brian Thomas is going to be utilized as that X wide receiver in this offense. And I know that Doug Peterson, as well as that Jacksonville offense, took kind of a step back late last year, but I believe that they're going to be able to rectify and hopefully get a better outlook from Trevor Lawrence as well as that offense. And Xavier Worthy, it really comes down to the fact that he's in Kansas City. He has a great system there already. Plus, you have Travis Kelce, so many great weapons there. And I know that there's a lot of question marks for Rashee Rice, but these guys should be going between your mid to late first round. So pick 106 to pick 112. And of course, other teams among your fantasy leagues are going to address other positions. But if you're looking for wide receivers late in that first round, like in the 106, like I said, to the 112, these three guys are the ones that I would definitely keep my eyes out for. Now, the third and fourth tiers, these are the ones that are going to make a bigger impact because after about the first round, as you can imagine, success rate when it comes to how efficient these guys can be in the NFL drops significantly, especially after the second round. So the guys I want you to really keep your eyes out for are going to be the following: Xavier Legette, Ricky Pearsall, Adonai Mitchell, and these guys are all available. Their average ADP currently has them between the early second round and the mid second round. So you're looking at the 201, 206. In some cases, you can even get them between like the 208 range as well. And these guys are quite simply guys that are in good situations. So, for example, Ricky Pearsall, he's in San Francisco. If anything was to happen to Debo Samuel or even Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall's value increases, in my opinion. And he was already someone that I saw as like a deep target, especially later into drafts. But I feel like him going to San Francisco really increased a little bit of his hype. And, same thing goes for even Adonai Mitchell. He's going to be in this Indianapolis Colts offense. And the reason why he probably has a little bit more of a question mark is because it's all contingent. His success, at least, is contingent on how well Anthony Richardson can develop as a quarterback. We saw that Michael Pittman Jr. got more of an uptick in value when Gardner Minshew took over for Richardson when he was hurt. So I understand. And also Joshua Downs isn't a slump at wide receiver as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he's able to compete for targets there. But I think he's someone that will still be solid. Now, the final tier I want to go over, and this is like where I'm going to be spending most of my time as far as going over these players. That way you can understand where my logic goes for as far as, really targeting these guys. And the players I have in this range are Jalen Polk, Roman Wilson, Mekhi Corley, and Jermaine Burton. These guys are all available late second round, maybe even third round as well. So if you're seeing that these guys are dropping, really consider having them on your team, especially if you are in need of some wide receivers that can make an impact. So let me go ahead and now go over, and this is where we're going to spend the most time again, is the first one I want to go over is going to be Roman Wilson. I love Roman Wilson here in this situation because he's going to be paired up in this Pittsburgh offense that just traded away Deontay Johnson. And not only did they trade Deontay Johnson, but this is someone that is going to be second behind George Pickens. This offense now features Arthur Smith. And the reason why this is a big deal is because, number one, Roman Wilson played for the Wolverines last season, and they have a very similar run-heavy scheme that I think will benefit him because he had a very similar role in college to what I think he's going to have in the NFL. Because not only is he quick, this guy ran a 4.39 on the 40-yard dash, and he was drafted in the third round. And again, he's going to vacate that wide receiver 2 role. And with the offense that he's running, he's going to be perfect in this system because in college, he actually attacked a lot of the intermediate to deeper parts of the field. And because of how shallow this wide receiver room is, I can really see this guy really leveraging that and being successful in fantasy football, and someone that you should really consider in your rookie drafts. And actually, real quick, I want to fix something real fast. Just press. Okay, cool. All righty. All right, cool. That's much better. Now the next wide receiver I want to go over is going to be Jermaine Burton. And very similar to this of Ricky Pearsall is going to be what happens to T. Higgins. We've heard the official, and we heard so many rumors about how T. Higgins was looking for a trade, but now we know that T. Higgins has been looking for some kind of move, right? Now, if this were to happen, Jermaine Burton for me will start to rise in value as well because he's going to be that wide receiver 2. And we've seen how successful a wide receiver 2 in a Joe Burrow-led offense can be. And I think that Jermaine Burton is someone that could easily vacate that role as well. And here's a few stats about Jermaine Burton that I really love. Well, I mean, for starters, he had back-to-back seasons where he was team in receiving yards, and the totals that he had weren't anything that will jump at you that make you feel like, whoa, this guy was like next level wide receiver. However, he was someone that was still the number one option among his team. And I know the one thing about him, when you actually follow Matt Harmon, he has a really great piece called Reception Perception. His route tree, well, actually, here, let me explain why I'm mentioning Matt Harmon. He has this really great tool where you're able to analyze any number of wide receivers and how effective they are in particular route trees. And Jermaine Burton, unfortunately, doesn't have the best one. Like when you look at when you think of like the standard of guys that can run routes, you want to look like Rome Odunze. This guy was green all over the place. Now Jermaine Burton, he does have some upside though because of how physical he plays. And one thing that I got from scouts was that it says here that his physicality at the break point and strength make contested catches make him a premium threat. And again, if T. Higgins were to get moved, and now that forces Jermaine Burton to be that second wide receiver in this offense, he's someone that would be great for you to target and to have on your rosters as well. And now I want to actually transition to the next player that I have on this list, and that's going to be Malachi Corley. And he is currently in the New York Jets, and he is going to be, of course, playing behind Garrett Wilson. However, you're seeing a lot of things already out of training camp, how he's been doing really well in practices, really showing off the athleticism. And when you look at his highlight reel in college, this guy was known for breaking tackles. So you'll see a lot of highlight reels of Malachi Corley. He's leaving defenders looking silly. He's having guys just completely miss how evasive he is. And the thing is, though, one thing that you're seeing with him that isn't as effective as some of these other wide receivers is that he wasn't really as solid in terms of how well he can catch contested balls. And same thing with him with his drops. So he had a high drop rate, and he also had a contested catch rate that wasn't really that impressive. And because he's gotten a lot of comps like Debo and Ayuk because of how well he can really be utilized in an offense where he's more of a gadget wide receiver, I think that's where you're getting a lot of the value, especially considering that you already have Garrett Wilson there. You have Breece Hall as well in that backfield, plus Aaron Rodgers, who's been able to really leverage the wide receivers that he's had. And I think that having a gadget wide receiver like Malachi Corley in this offense to be paired up with the players that I just mentioned would really make a positive impact for his fantasy value. Now, there is this stat that I wanted to share with you, and it comes from PFF College, and it reads as follows because Malachi Corley falls into this category. Among day 1 or 2 wide receivers, Malachi Corley is the number 1 among wide receivers that were used in 40% of their career catches coming off of screens. So Malachi Corley is someone that was used a lot near the line of scrimmage, and the amount of times that he actually was utilized was 51.4%. So this guy was used a lot because of how evasive he was, and I believe that giving Aaron Rodgers a wide receiver that can be a quick dump off and help extend the play a little bit longer, especially because we have so many question marks about that Jets offensive line. I think Malachi Corley would be phenomenal and someone that would be absolutely great in fantasy, especially considering his ADP currently has been late second round, potentially even early 30 in your rookie drafts. Now, the last I want to go over is one of my favorite ones, but the only reason why I have a little bit of reservation is because of where he's at. He's currently going to New England Patriots. He's going to be, I think, arguably maybe the wide receiver 1 in this offense already, but that isn't saying much because there isn't really much talent there. But this is going to be Jalen Polk, and they drafted Drake May. So you're happy about this could impact him positively in Dynasty. Where you get worried, obviously, is how well this offense is going to be because we're not really expecting much from them. But let me go over a few things about Jalen Polk that I like. For starters, I love his ability to be strong at the jump ball scenarios. And overall, especially in college, his down to field, like how effective he was down the field was really impressive. And that's what, for me, makes him really intriguing. And again, the opportunity in New England may be shaky, but you love the potential target share that he's going to have. And target share is a key indicator that you can get some volume and in turn get some fantasy success. So the floor could be solid for Jalen Polk compared to some of these other rookies that we have. And one of the other concerns that we saw with him in Washington was that his route running wasn't as crisp. And of course, it's easy to see that when you have a teammate like Rome Odunze, who's just solid as a route runner already. But again, one thing I'm looking at is his ADP. He's going late second round, and this is great value that you can really leverage. And that's one of the things I really want to hammer home is when you're talking about how well someone could be as in fantasy is really about how much volume they can potentially get, and someone can be solid, especially considering how late they're being drafted. So that's why I would really encourage you to keep your eyes on for Jalen Polk. And I have one more I'm going to go into, and this is more of an outlier player because I'm a little bit concerned about his draft capital. So this was a player that was drafted in the 6th round. So that's already, like, for me, a red flag. However, I love his athletic. I love his. I can't even get that right. I'll say that again. I love his athleticism, and that's going to be Malik Washington from the Miami Dolphins. This guy ran a 4.47 40-yard dash, and his burst score was among the 97th percentile of all time. So this guy is quick, really athletic. And even in Northwestern, before he transferred to Virginia, very effective. And when he was in Virginia last season, he caught 110 receptions for 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns. And again, the thing that for me is a little bit concerning about him is his limited route tree and where he was picked. He was picked in the 6th round. However, being in an offense with Mike McDaniels and Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill, I think bodes well for him because he is going to be someone that will be more utilized as a gadget player. And in an offense like that of Miami, I don't think that's a bad thing whatsoever, especially considering that he's going later into your draft. So you'll see him in the 3rd round. If you're in a 5-round rookie draft, he could be even in that 4th round range. And this is someone worth taking. And, what I would recommend is you have him on your taxi squad for a little bit and you wait to see, okay, how they utilize him in the preseason. And of course, the preseason is a hard gauge to really transfer over to the NFL as far as how you approach him in the regular season. But still, someone that I believe that could someone that could be solid for you in your roster. So let me go over a few of the questions. So first, shout out to my guys here, Eddie, Daniel. So I'm seeing here that Jermaine Burton is a dog from Daniel. Actually, let me show you guys the chat. It's pretty funny. So we got here Daniel making a pretty good comment. Yeah, Jermaine Burton is a dog. This guy is someone that I absolutely love. And then you're seeing Eddie's rebuttal. Jermaine Burton is actually a Bengal, not a dog. So that's pretty hilarious. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate you all. And again, yeah, these are guys that I think are going to be really effective, guys that are really moving up on my rankings, and guys that I'm really targeting, especially with among that 2nd to 3rd round range that I think can make an impact. And the reason why I also brought all this up too is because draft capital really does play a huge factor. And I want to pull up this stat that I was able to get. And a huge shout out to Rod Stewart. This guy, I think, has probably, like, right now, one of my favorite content creators. But there's this great piece that he sourced from his from his wide receiver hit rate model. And let me actually share it with you guys. I wonder if I can just pull it up. But anyways, for now, what I can do is here, I'll read this. Here's why I'm a little bit worried about Malik Washington, actually. So wide receivers that were drafted in the 6th round, okay? Their chances of being so the average points that they get with among their first 3 years is 2.6, right? Now, after their rookie season, the chances of them being a top 12 points per game wide receiver is only 1.6%. And the chances that they ever become top 24 point per game fantasy wide receivers is 3.1%. And now we're going to see here in the 1st round. So here's the inverse of that, right? You see rookie wide receivers on average when they're drafted in the 1st round tend to average 10.8 fantasy points per game. So we're seeing that with their, like, Marvin Harrison's, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, and their chances of being a top 12 fantasy player is 40.4%. And their chances of being a top 24 player are even higher at 57.9%. So that's pretty surreal. And then you see a slight dip in the 2nd round where guys that are, that are rookies among this range tend to average 8 points per game in their first 3 seasons. And from there, they have a 23.2% chance of being a top 12 player, as well as a 36.2% probability that they'll be a top 24 player among wide receivers on a points per game basis. So this essentially speaking to how draft capital among these players plays a huge factor. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because I thought it was very, very interesting. And I'm actually going to build a few models of my own. But the first one, of course, I wanted to release is going to be my PPR rankings, so that way you guys can get your foot in the door with projections. And again, it's very simple. Let me actually share it with you guys again. And as you can see here, you have all the tabs available for you. It's very simple. You have your quarterbacks, your running backs, wide receivers, your tight ends, and then you have your scoring settings that you can adjust yourself. So you can change it depending on your league. I know mine says over here PPR scoring breakdown, but that's because I play in PPR leagues for the most part. I don't think I'm playing it in any standard ones that aren't PPR. But anyways, that option is there for you. And I can't thank you guys enough once again for being here on this stream. I know that this was kind of wonky in the beginning because I couldn't share my, for whatever reason, share whatever I wanted to show you guys with my notes. But the cool thing is I'm going to have more content like this dropping. I'm going to be doing a video. The very next stream I'm going to be having is going to be now targeting running backs. And again, this draft class is poor when it comes to the running back position, but I think there's still some guys that you should focus on. And then what I'm going to do also is I'm going to do a live stream where we do some mock drafts with you guys. So if you're looking to be a part of the community, I just launched my Discord, and that information is going to be found on my channel's description page. I will also link it to this video once the stream goes down so that you guys can access it. And once again, if you're looking to get your hands on this rankings sheet, any super chat amount that you give will get you that free link. I'll send you an email, get you all that information, and of course be available directly in the Discord chat as well. So if you join our Discord, it's free as well. It's a free place for us to just connect, have community, everything like that. So that will be there as well as information to get you plugged in. So once again, thank you so much for tuning into the Ivan Herrera Show. This has been a fun live stream, and I will see you guys in the next one. And be sure to check out some of the other videos I have already. I already released my early running back rankings for this upcoming season, as well as a few other things that I was going over as far as the post draft, as far as rookies go. And yeah, I have some good content there that's going to be coming up. And if you haven't already subscribed, by all means, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also check out the audio podcast if you're looking to have something to listen to while you're on your jog or on your commute. That is also available for you on Apple and Spotify, wherever you listen to your audio podcast. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.